everyone, it's Commander Simlex here, and today we will be looking at how to spec an engineering ship for maximum survivability and maximum weapon damage in Star Trek Online. So, let's get right to it. Now, let's start with consoles. For consoles, I would really recommend that in the science slot you stick shield amplifying consoles in every single slot that you have, starting with at least one field generator, which increases your maximum shield capacity, which is always good to have for survivability, and then in every other available slot to put shield emitter amplifiers in. Now, just as a word of caution, the field generator is really expensive on the exchange, ranging from 800,000 for a good level 11 to in the millions, sorry. And this, of course, and you can of course obtain this through crafting as well, so that might be a cheaper alternative. Now, the shield emitter amplifier, now back to the shield emitter amplifier, it increases the shield regeneration rate. Sorry for my phone in the background there, if you heard it. And of course this also improves your survivability. Now, to further increase that, I would recommend that in the engineering consoles you go with some armor. Now, with the armor, just cover every single energy type that you know in the game. For instance, I would recommend, and this is all through personal experience, a tetraburnium hull armor, which would cover plasma, tetrion, polaron, and antiproton, as seen on the screen now. And then to round off the armor, I would recommend diburnium hull plating, which covers the phaser and disruptor, the remaining two. Now, there is one thing that both of these armors do not cover, and that is kinetic damage, and for that you need monotanium hull armor. Now, there is one type of armor that will cover every single energy type as well as kinetic, and that is neutronium hull armor. So it'll be up to the player to decide what you want to go with, as the neutronium covers every type, but it is also slightly less in stats. So that is obviously the trade-off. And now on to the damage output. Now, to maximize damage output, I would recommend making all your beam arrays, dual beam arrays, cannons, all one energy type, and then having consoles to match them. Now, this is of course not a very good example of this, as I have a phaser dual beam bank here and a phaser beam array here. Now, of course, you can spec the weapons any way you like, but for maximum damage output, you would want all the beam arrays, dual beam arrays, cannons, all to be one energy type. And then your torpedoes, also, I would recommend making them all one energy type, and then speccing the consoles accordingly. Now, in tactical consoles, if I go by the majority of the weapon type here, I would spec it with a disruptor induction coil, which increases the disruptor damage, which is 90% of the weapons on this ship, and then quantum torpedoes would be enhanced by the 0-point quantum chamber. Now, of course, you can change out the energy types depending on your preference, and all of them, of course, have different prices on the exchange, and of course, all these items can be crafted or bought through dilithium in the reputation system. Now on to the shields and engines and warp cores and such. Now, for the shield, engine, and deflector, I would recommend a set. They are all really well made and are really powerful, mostly. And in this ship, I have the Assimilated Regenerative Shield Array, which the stats are on screen now. And this set, because I have the engines, the deflectors, and the shield, I also get some bonuses. In this case, I get the Autonomous Regeneration Sequencer, which repairs hull damage over time, depending on how much damage I take. Now, of course, this can only occur once every 60 seconds, so this is helpful, but it doesn't occur very often. And then as the 3-piece set bonus, you also have access to the multi-regenerative shield array, and that one slowly repairs your shields over time, and it's also based on the amount of energy damage you take and kinetic damage you take. And these are the stats for both of those. I'm trying to get it all in one screen, sort of. Okay. And then as an added bonus for having all the pieces, I also get the Assimilated Tractor Beam. Now this one is sort of a trade-off, as it has a slightly less lower usage time, so it'll stop working or deactivate at a rather quick interval. And then it also has a really large cooldown timer compared to the standard tractor beam, but it is still better than the premium grappler, which has about the same cooldown time and an even shorter duration. Now, and also this one, the Borg tractor beam also has the extra stats of draining energy from your opponent towards your own power systems, and that is about the only bonus. So it's up to the player to decide whether this is going to be useful. Excuse me. Now, on to the engines, deflectors, and warp cores. So with the engine and deflector, they will affect your abilities and your ship's performance. The engine, of course, will affect your speed and maneuverability. And here's the Assimilated sub-transwarp engine. And then the deflector will also improve your abilities as well. I would really recommend a deflector with a structural integrity modifier, as it will improve your hull hit points and thus survivability. And I also recommend a Starship Power Insulator add-on, as that will provide resistance to shield drains from tachyon beams and other energy drains from things like energy siphon and the abilities as such. And then, of course, inertial dampeners is useful as well, as that'll increase your resistance to knockbacks, holds, and repels from tricobalts and other knockback abilities, such as, and also holds, so that includes Gravity Well, Tychon's Rift, etc. Now on to the warp cores. In this case, I have an overcharged warp core in this ship, and it has an A to S modifier, which moves 7.5% of the auxiliary power to your shield's power setting, which is awesome for survivability, as the more power you have towards a subsystem, the better the subsystem will function and the more regeneration rate you will have. And it may affect the hit points as well. I have not tested this. But in this case, I also have auxiliary power modifiers that increase the amount, so it is a double benefit for your shields, as it takes 7.5% of the auxiliary power level, so the higher that level is, the more power you will have towards your shields. Now, as an added bonus on top of this, the more auxiliary power you have, the stronger your abilities will be, such as Tachyon, Beam, Gravity Well, Phaser Lance, etc., because all of these use auxiliary power. Now, in this case, it also has an engine capacitor ability, which is a triggerable ability, and this will repair your disabled engines as well as increase your engine power setting for a limited time. And that is, of course, always good for maneuverability. Now, as another add-on, let me just find that I would recommend for a warp core. Let me just find an example. Here we go. Here we go. A subsystem repair ability, I think. Oh no, that's driver coil. Darn it, I can't seem to find a good example of it. Let me just keep searching a little bit here. Oh well, forget it. The ability that I would also recommend for a warp core is a subsystem repair modification, because that will also help you resist knockbacks, holds, and other disabling effects, which in turn will help you survive, as you'll be able to move and counter abilities a lot quicker. And anyway, I think this is all the time I have for this video, so please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and I will see you in the next video. Commander Simlex, out.